So there's a couple of things or a couple of signs to let you know that you need to hire someone. Um, if your workload is just way too much where you can't get everything done, you're losing clients, you have to turn down work, you need to hire somebody so that you can have more time to focus on growing your business.
Welcome to We Ain't Normal. My name is Charmaine Fuller, and I'm an everyday mom sharing how I navigate my ADHD brain. Each week, we share tools, inspiration, and resources to help you uncover how to reclaim your time, energy, and focus. So thanks for hanging out with me today. Now on to our show. Are you looking to shut down some of the open tabs in your head? If you're a professional mom with ADHD like me, girl, I feel you. And this is why I created the Simplify My Life newsletter. The Simplify My Life newsletter shares real life tips, resources, and support to help you shut down the noise and navigate your ADHD life. Trust me, this is the one email you'll be looking forward to opening in your inbox. Join today at the link in the show notes below, and I'll see you there. Hey, what's up? And welcome back to the We Ain't Normal show. Today is going to be all about building that team, when you can start, when you need to start, and if it's something you should even be worried about right now in regards to your business. I know that scaling is something a lot of entrepreneurs love to hear. Today, my guest Shayla Burtin is going to help us to discern, if now is the time or if there's just some more things we need to put into place before we get into it. Shayla, share a bit more about who you are, how you serve, and anything else you want to share.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. I am an operations and team growth strategist who helps multi passionate visionaries work less and vacation more by building winning teams. And I consider myself to be a partner to visionaries who have growing businesses that are thriving, but also kind of taking over their lives. They are heavily involved in the day to day workload. And without them, the business would fall apart. And so they struggle with being able to take vacations or take significant time off without bringing their laptops along. And so that's really where I come in. I use my 20 years of HR and operations experience to help business owners create a strategic plan, implement effective systems, and build a winning team to support their expansion while giving them the freedom and flexibility they desire in their life.
That sounds yummy. That the part about not being able to take time away from your business because you're afraid that ish might blow up is a real
Yes.
fear for so many entrepreneurs, beginning and season. So
Hmm.
let's get right into it because I think this is a heavy and hot topic. We
Hmm.
all want to hire someone, but we don't, I know it's for myself, it's like, well, how do I know it's the right time to start hiring a team? Like, what are
Hmm.
some signs that would let me know that, girl, it's time for you to give this to somebody else who's better and more efficient?
Right, exactly. Um, well, one of the things I first tell people to think about is what exactly are you building? So, what's your vision for your company? Is this, just a job or a side hustle to pay your bills? Do you want to elevate your lifestyle? Are you trying to leave a legacy for your family? Are you building a business that you want to eventually sell for a lot of money? So I feel like you need to first understand what your vision is, um, to determine, like, okay, do you even need a team? Because maybe your business should just be solo. Um, but as far as when, if you know that you do or will need a team, when should you hire someone? Well, So there's a couple of things or a couple of signs to let you know that you need to hire someone. Um, if your workload is just way too much where you can't get everything done, you're losing clients, you have to turn down work, that could be a sign that you should get some help to help you with that work. um, if your business is stagnant because you don't have the time to focus on growth because you're too busy doing the actual work, um, you need to hire somebody so that you can have more time to focus on growing your business. Let's see. Also, if you're missing a specific skill, when we first start our businesses, we're doing all of the things, we're doing
Yep,
everything, but not doing everything well. Um,
exactly.
yeah. So,
Jack of all trades, master of none.
mhm. Exactly, exactly. So to grow, you may need to hire somebody who's more skilled in a specific area that you aren't in. And then, of course, like I mentioned, you can't take a vacation, you can't take time off. That's a sign that you need to get some help because we all need time away from our business to recharge, relax, and just have a life.
Yes. One of the things that, I heard you say early on is the piece of what am I building? It sounds like getting really clear about what you have going on in your business and the direction you're going so you can know
Hmm.
who you need to hire and maybe the stages that you might need to hire them in. That's what that sounded like to
Yes.
me. It's just having that clarity. I feel like for a lot of entrepreneurs, we don't have that clarity. We forget that part. And we jump
Right.
right to the second part where you're like, okay, is your business stag? Like, and we go, okay, I'm going to hire somebody. And then we
Hmm.
hire them and they're either not a good fit because we're not clear on our direction
Yes.
or we're so helicoptery
Hmm.
because we're not clear about our direction. So we're uncomfortable with letting things go and letting
Yes.
someone do what they're at their genius at. What are some of the common mistakes or missteps that, besides what we just mentioned, that you find people do when they build a team? Like, why would they need help in building a team? What are some of the biggest things you see them try out maybe on their own and it just doesn't work out, but you help them to navigate with a bit more clarity and ease?
Hmm. Well, I would say the biggest misstep is not having a plan when you decide to hire.
Wait a minute, we got to
Um,
have plans for that?
yes, ma'am. We need a plan for everything, and at least that's what I believe. But with hiring, absolutely. A lot of times, what people will do is they decide, okay, I need someone quick, and they just go and get the first person that they find. And every blue moon, you might get lucky and things may work out for you, but a lot of times it doesn't. And so you definitely want to have a plan to ensure that you are taking your time to hire your first or your next team member. A lot of us hire during desperation. So we are so swamped, and that's when we decide, okay, now we want to bring someone on. But again, we're in a rush. And being in a rush just can lead to really
It can
disastrous results. Yeah.
lead to so much stress and overwhelm from the entrepreneur business owner perspective and also from the person that honestly just wants to come in and support you because they
Yes.
don't know where to start. They
Hmm.
aren't sure, like, there's no markers for them to know if they're doing the right thing.
Right.
And you don't keep people that long when they can't figure out how to help you.
Yes, exactly, exactly. If your business is all in your head, And you're so busy that you don't have the time to explain everything to them. Like, how do you expect them to be able to support you? Like, even if you bring someone on who is an expert in their field, but the problem is they're not an expert in your business. And
Right.
so you still have to, show them how things work, how you do things in your business, before they're able to really complete their job.
Now, this is something that I've discovered in hiring, that I'm sure you like, or just let me know if this is something that you've discovered as well.
Hmm.
When you hire someone, you're going to have to repeat yourself a lot,
Hmm.
like a whole lot. And even if you think this is something that I learned, I'm like, oh my God, my directions are so clear. They are bomb. Anybody that come in should be able to understand it. And they still had questions. And I'm like,
Right.
why do you still have, I'm thinking to myself that I had to like check myself and go, because she not you. That's why she still got
Exactly.
questions. Have you discovered some of the same things that you've run into, like when entrepreneurs say they don't understand, or I have to keep repeating myself? Like,
Yes. So part of it is that people have different learning styles. That's one issue. So someone may learn best when you just tell them or where you give them written instructions. Someone else may need to be more hands on, so they need to watch you do something and then try it themselves. So that's one thing. When I'm interviewing candidates, I will ask them if they know what their preferred learning style is, because then that will help me to better onboard them. So that's one issue. And then the other issue is that sometimes our instructions are not as detailed as they need to be.
child.
So what I hear leaders, business owners, and managers say all the time is, oh, I didn't mention that part because it should just be common sense. And it's not.
No.
It's common sense for you because you do the task all the time. But when it's a new person, they need all the details, they need all the steps. You can't assume they know something and leave a step out.
Oh my goodness, so true. One of the things that I discovered in my journey with hiring was that I didn't like I'm an over preparer, overthinker. So I thought that before
Okay.
I hired somebody, I had to have this manual set out and I had to have all of these like bits and pieces set out. And so then that
Hmm.
would block me. But then after I hired somebody, I realized that wasn't even her flipping learning style. So
Yeah.
like the pain, not the pain point, but the lesson now is just I just have like a basic framework. And then as we work together and as we meet, I see how you learn. And I've started to have, like the last VA I had her create stuff around how she learns. Like as she
Hmm.
did it, and as she like, I learned to just leave, like give her the baseline
Right.
and let her do what she did. And then wherever I needed to fill in, I filled in, and it led for a happier and less stress free situation for us all.
Nice. That's very good. That's very good. Yeah, I don't think, having all of that documentation up front, so the stuff that you created up front, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's really great because it might not be helpful for the current person that you have, but the next person that you have may have a different learning style.
True.
So it's good to be prepared, and I think having more information, more resources up front, even if the person does not use them, is way better than having nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of the biggest challenges of being an entrepreneur is documenting the
Hmm.
things that you do. If for no other reason, even if you hire somebody off of Fiverr or something like that, to where they can see how you operate and
Yeah.
how you're set up with things. So once you get somebody on your team, so we've gotten clear about what it is our business is doing, where it's going, and the direction.
Mhm.
And so then we kind of go through our list of, right now, either your business is stagnant because you're doing admin work and that's something that's not your area of genius. So it's playing with your money, or
Mhm.
you're too overloaded. And so you're missing money still because you're dropping the ball.
Right.
Once you kind of go through those steps, how do you begin to choose, interview, hire someone that's a good fit for you?
Okay. Well, so once you know what you're looking for, so that is, I guess, step number one is knowing what role you're looking for, what all of their responsibilities are going to be, because then that will help you make sure that you are selecting the right person. So once you know who exactly you're looking for, then you need to post your job opening in multiple places so that you get a large pool of people that you can potentially interview and choose. Um, for us entrepreneurs, I would say we're posting most likely on social media. So, on your social media accounts, maybe some Facebook groups. You can also use Indeed for free, LinkedIn, and also try some college job boards. You can post on there for free.
Okay.
And then once you start getting in candidates, you review all of them and determine like who you're interested in interviewing based off of, their skill set, their experience, all of that fun stuff. And then when you're interviewing, you want to make sure that you are asking really good questions that will help you determine if they, number one, have the skill set that you're looking for, and also if they have the soft skills that you need. I think that's an area where people who are hiring, they kind of don't think about the soft skills. So, for example, one of my clients was having issues with the people that she was hiring not taking initiative to like solve problems or try to find the answers on their own. Whenever they had a problem or an issue, they would always, go to her or ask her a question. And so it was taking up a lot of her time. And so, a question that I would ask candidates during the interview is the question that I would ask is if you were assigned a task or a project to complete, and once you started working on it, you realized you didn't have all the skills or knowledge to complete the task, what would you do?
Great.
Now, yeah, and some of the people, their answer would be, "Oh, if I didn't know how to do something, I would ask my manager." Um, Now that is not a terrible answer, but it's not the answer that I'm looking for. The answer that I was looking for is I would first either Google and try to find the answer or look at some of the resources and documents that were available to me. Basically, I wanted the candidate to say that first they would try to figure it out on their own. And then if they couldn't, then go to their manager.
That's important when you're an entrepreneur because I don't necessarily have the bandwidth for you to be slacking me every 5 seconds or
Yes,
constantly needing to get on a video chat with me. And I
right.
think somebody, like you said as well in the beginning, is, knowing what you're building, basically knowing what your business values are. Do they
Hmm.
seem like they're an individual that matches with those values? I mean, you can stalk everybody's social media now, and not saying that social media is a perfect parameter, but it
Right.
can give you a good idea of, it can give you a general idea. It's like something to add into the
Mhm.
pot. of how a person might respond to something, specifically if they do videos. Like that's really helpful for me.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
So you gave a great interview question, which
Hmm.
was, if you couldn't find, basically, if you couldn't find the answer to something, how would you handle that? Would you come to management or would you handle that on your own?
Hmm.
What are some of the other tools or resources that entrepreneurs or business leaders could look out for if they're looking to grow their team? I know that was one of the top questions that I had as I was Googling, like, what are questions to ask during an interview or um, something like that. What are some of the ways they can find out how to, look for that hire or even how to begin to onboard them into their organization?
Hmm. So you're asking for the tool, what tools I can
Yeah, so
use?
like tools or resources, like where would I go? Would I come to you as an entrepreneur and go, hey, you know, how do I ask these questions? Or do you do the heavy lifting and do the interviewing?
Yes. So for me, and so for what I do, um, I find that a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't have time to go through the entire hiring process because it does take a lot of time. So like I'm recently been trying to hire an admin assistant for one of my clients, and I've interviewed about 7 people right now, and that takes a lot of time interviewing and also, reviewing all the applications that come in. And so I find that a lot of business owners just want to get that off of their plate. And
Yes.
so I do offer that as a service where I will post a job, review all the applications, do the first interviews. If they have any sort of test project that they want the candidate to complete, I do all of that. And then I just schedule the top 2 to 3 people for the business owner to interview. So that's all they have to do. And then, make their choice.
Oh, that's sweet.
Um, yeah, yeah, I really take it off of their plate because it's time consuming and it can be frustrating because um, people don't always show up for the interview. So
Nope.
you schedule and they disappear without letting you know. So it can be frustrating, but I actually enjoy it though.
See, I don't. It's like you just wasted like the 5 minutes I sat waiting for you on this Zoom call. Like
Yeah,
I could have got a cup of coffee, but I was here for you,
exactly. And then I also think like I could have scheduled someone else. If you would have just
right?
let me know you were no longer interested, I could have gave somebody else this opportunity.
What is the final advice that you would offer to business owners, entrepreneurs who are starting to build their team?
Yes. I would say to not get frustrated so much where you just stop the process. Um, Once you hire, you start building your team, you are going to make a lot of mistakes. Even myself, when I started hiring for my business, even though I have decades of experience, I made some mistakes. I made some bad hires. It's going to happen, but that doesn't mean that you just stop and say, okay, forget it. I'm just going to stay solo forever because that's not going to help
No,
you.
it's not.
It's not. You just got to go through it, and the most important thing is to just learn from your mistakes. So when things go wrong, just think about what happened, what you could have done differently, and then make those changes going forward. But you have to keep going, and you have to continue so that you can make your vision come true.
Yes, and yes. Thank you so much for this, Shayla. This was
Oh, yeah.
a really good look into making, I think, hiring less scary, helping us to
Yes.
break it down and to just getting really clear again about, where we're going, what we're doing, and just the stages of business to look out for and not just hiring just because like you said, sometimes things could be overwhelming just because the systems you have set in place right now are
Right.
not where they need to be. And it's not necessarily that you need to hire. And, that's people hire and they're already overwhelmed and, it makes you even more overwhelmed. So
Yes.
having those steps in place are really awesome. So one
Mhm.
final question. I always like to know what my guests are reading right now.
So the last book that I read was The Introvert's Edge by Matthew Pollard. And it's basically explaining how introverts can be really good at selling. So we have a gift that we can use to help us in selling. And so that book was really helpful as I continue to grow my business.
That is wonderful. I'm looking it up now because I always like a good read. Like I'm an introvert extrovert. Like when
Okay.
I first meet people or I come into new situations, like I am not actively looking for new situations. Like let's just be clear
Right.
about that. But if I happen to talk myself into, or maybe somebody is willing to go with me and be like my wingman, once I get there and I start to feel the energy, like it's all about energy, I think, for introverts. Like once I start to feel the
Yes.
energy of it, and if the energy matches what I'm willing to share, then I'll open up. But if the
Yeah.
energy does not feel good to me, I will sit back in a corner and sip on a soda and call it a day.
Right. Right.
And think about what's the fastest way I can get to the exit without looking like too weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. Although, one thing that I've learned that I need to do for like networking events is to volunteer at the event. So that forces me to show up, and it forces me to have to talk to people.
Oh my goodness. I might have to try that one. I might have because
Hmm.
it takes the focus off of you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it takes the focus off of you. Well, again, Shayla, thank you so much. This was really juicy. I really appreciate you sharing this with us. Where can they find you at in these internet streets?
The easiest way to find me is visiting my website, which is yesicanhelpyou.com.
That's cute.
Thank
And
you.
yes, we can help you. Thank you so
Yes.
much again, Shayla, for joining us today. And until next time, remember to stay weird, and I'll see you all later. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and it freed you to see your life a bit differently. Make sure to check out those show notes in the description for a full rundown of today's episode with all the important links and resources. If you want weekly exclusive episodes with me personally, make sure to sign up for my Simplify My Life newsletter. I'd love to know what you enjoyed about this episode, so leave a review to let me know how I can continue to support you. So, Mama, I want you to know you're doing much better than you think. You're further than you believe, and you're worthy to have it all. So until next time, stay weird and keep doing you, babe. Coming up next time on the We Ain't Normal show.
Absolutely. Most definitely. Yeah, when you shift your mindset around money, great things happen. Like you get a hit of dopamine when you take action and you see things in progress, and that spurs you on neurologically to take the next step and then the next step and to keep going. So I work a lot on that, on your money mindset and identifying that and making the shift and turning things into a positive.
Want more of this episode? Make sure your podcast notifications are on and you're a part of the We Ain't Normal family by going to thecharmedlife.show to get weekly podcast updates and notifications. I'll see you there.